Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog McNally. Welcome to this first Monday in February. At least I think it is. I'm not on top of things, but hey, it's great to be here. It's nice to have, and I don't even know. It was Groundhog Day the other day, and I don't even know if the groundhog saw a shadow, but did he? Caitlin, do you know if the groundhog saw a shadow?
Yeah, he did.
And what does that mean?
More winter.
More winter. Don't even know what I'm talking about. But hey, nice to have you here. Just want to tell a couple things. Computers. I've been having problems with mine lately, at work and at home. I don't know why, but computers really, it will let you make mistakes faster than anything else in human history, with the possible exception of handguns and tequila. And you know that I don't play lotteries. I never buy lotto tickets or that kind of thing, because lotteries really are attacks for people who suck at math. Ever think about that? It's true. And also, speaking about computers, I was really frustrated once that a computer once beat me at a game of checkers, but it was no match for me in kickboxing. Hey, but I got a great show for you today, and I want to do one last thing before we take a break and I bring on my guest. I wanted my, hey, Tom Brady went down dance. Tom Brady went down. See, that was a great game. That was the second best Super Bowl I've ever seen. First best, of course, was when the Seahawks wiped up the field with the Denver Broncos. Oh my gosh, I could have died fulfilled after that game. But hey, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog McNally, you stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Eric Grandstrom, inviting you to join us for the Kashmir Valley Bank Royalty Selection Pageant live on the NCW Life channel Saturday, February 10th, beginning at 6:30. Also on our website at ncwlife.com and on our Facebook page. Coverage brought to you by Boswell's Home Furnishings. Inspiration and comfort for every room in your home. And Collins Fashions, real clothes for real women in downtown Wenatchee. It's the Kashmir Valley Bank Royalty Selection Pageant live on the NCW Life channel Saturday, February 10th at 6:30.
Just as it went on the air, Steve, NCW Life is live now on Facebook.
Hey, how's about that? We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour.
Every weekday, starting at 7 o'clock.
Get ready for a bunch of news that's coming your way.
What's happening around North Central Washington. I'll have a rundown of all your local, regional, and statewide news. You can also find more on our website at ncwlife.com. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. That's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on NCW Life News.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Okay, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog McNally. As you can see, one of my favorite people in the world is here today. Captain Edgar Reinfeld from the Wenatchee PD. Really, I'm honored to have you. You know how I feel about police officers.
Yes.
They are the cream of the earth, baby.
I suppose
so to speak. So nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
Good. So, how's things going at the PD? You know, you have some interesting stuff happening recently.
Things are going at the PD. We had kind of a long week last week with a couple of different mental health related cases. One more of an acute mental health crisis for somebody.
Was that the one with Officer Houston?
Yes, that led to his injury.
Yeah, fill us in about that. You guys may not have read that in the paper, but
not going to go into great detail.
No,
but we had a suicidal party that ultimately was going to commit suicide with a firearm. There ended up being a struggle over the firearm with Sergeant Houston and with the male, and got discharged during this process. And thankfully, we're very fortunate. Very minor injuries sustained.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like in the webbing between fingers.
I don't even know
that
it was down that far. I think it's up a little bit higher and basically grooved both fingers. Cuts, for the lack of anything better to say, but we have full recovery on that one. And that was Tuesday morning early, and then we doubled back Thursday with a different mental health crisis, more of a chronic a mental health crisis. A person we've contacted dozens, if not hundreds of times, we're all very familiar with, having her worst day. Inside a restaurant, officers were called to remove her from the restaurant, and on contact, she picked up a dining chair from the restaurant and threw it at the officers. And instead of getting hit in the face, thankfully, Officer Shepard got his hand up and ended up with a broken finger that will sideline him on light duty for several weeks while that heals. And so it's telling. We're in a time where mental health crisis is suddenly something that's very open. We talk about. We're trying to find new ways to deal with it all the time. We're working very carefully with Catholic Charities and anybody else who can provide us assistance in dealing with this. And there's a lot of changes that we're discussing right now with the change in the Medicaid model for the state, going to the MCOs here, the managed care organizations, to work with that. So we have hopes that we'll find additional resources, additional ways to deal with this stuff going forward. But I think it's something that wasn't talked about much a long time ago, and now is right in the front.
Yeah, but it's been close to 15 years. You guys have been doing critical incident training to deal with mental health issues, and it's been about 15 years, hasn't it?
CIT, I think, first came to the Valley about 15 years ago. When I
Sergeant Shuri Smith was handling that. And
through NAMI and through these other organizations to get CIT, the Crisis Intervention Team, training here. I went through it my first year, I think 13 years ago, I went through CIT.
Yeah, I was before that.
And we're certainly at the, we have 92% of our staff currently trained to the level, above the level required by the state, the 8-hour minimum. The remaining 3 will all go in April when the class is here, and we'll turn around. The goal for us, of course, is to keep about 75% or better on that 40-hour class, which has never been a requirement by the state or anybody else, but a recommendation. We're at over 60% right now for 40 hours. We have a number of people who've been through 8. We have a ton of people who've been through the 40, the 8, the advanced 8 CIT, and now the 2-year annual refresher that's required by the state. We got our 100% on that number last year, so that we're staying on top of that. We're doing what we can. It's the population of folks with mental health crises seems to be creeping upward, though that's just anecdotal.
Well, we're more aware of it too, so.
Absolutely.
And I want to emphasize this again. What this training the captain's talking about is training specifically for police officers to deal with people with mental health issues. And like I say, this has been going on for more than 15 years. You folks in Wenatchee are very lucky, and I not just because I'm an ex-cop, but Wenatchee PD has been working hard on this, training their officers to be able to deal properly with mental health issues, and it's paid off.
Absolutely.
Done pretty good. So.
We've actually been working very closely with Catholic Family and Child Services, and now their name's evolved to Catholic Charities, with their diversion process. And so literally every morning about 7:15, more than half the department gets an email that says, here's who you call for crisis response today, here's their phone number, their cell phone number, and here's the hours that they'll be in service to deal with that.
That's
so
phenomenal.
That is Monday through Friday, we have somebody, at least 8, sometimes as much as 16 hours a day, that is waiting on the other end of the phone to call. They will come to the field if it's safe, contact the person directly there. So the days in the past where we might have contact with one person 6 or 8 times, we've cut that down to 1. Almost all the time now.
Now, is this a system that Catholic Families set up, or is this? Because I remember the old days when we used to have to contact a mental health professional. Oh, we'll be there in 2 hours. 2
or 4 or more.
And when you got 3 people on the street, you can't be sitting with somebody for 2 hours.
So this started back in 2015. Eric Skansgard is the director for outreach and diversion for Catholic Charities here locally, came to us and offered up this concept of trying to reduce our high volume contacts. So take the people that we talk to 10, 15, 20 times a month and get them rolled into their services so that we talk to them less and we spend less time dealing with that. It also, the goal is to keep from arresting people in mental health crisis. Because it doesn't do any good. We send folks to jail. They maybe get leveled off a little bit in jail, but they come out if they miss a court appearance, they get a warrant, they come back to jail at a time it's inconvenient, all these things. So starting in 2015, we started working on that. It's ramped up to now where at least 3 days a week we have one of the crisis diversion workers that's in our shift change at 7 in the morning hearing what's going on and
Oh,
updating
cool.
us on
Excellent.
the cases that they've worked for us, and also letting us know that they have a detainer for somebody that we can help them find so we can get them rolled into services, into treatment, as opposed to being out, you know, sometimes being a disturbance in the community, being a danger to themselves in the community if they're not taking care of themselves. We're really trying to stay on the front side of it and deal with the problems before they become issues that impact the greater community in a negative way.
Okay. Okay, how's your staffing? Are you guys up to speed? You got all the people that you need?
We are today, we have 41 officers authorized and 10 professional staff. We are we're 10 of 10 for professional staff, so we're doing good there.
Okay, all right.
So of our 41 authorized, we have 38 on the books today. Unfortunately, we have 4 people injured right now, and 2 at the academy.
That's about what it was when I left. And that was 11 years ago. And that,
no,
I don't know.
we peaked at 44. We never had a 44th hired. We're staffed at 43. And then the Great Recession appeared amongst us.
Right.
And we cut way back, and we dropped at one point to 37 authorized, which took us clear back to 1990 numbers.
Yeah, that's...
We're back up to 40.
And I live here in Wenatchee. I want enough
Right.
I want the cops on the street. You know?
We're trying. No, but we're authorized 41 right now. We have 38 on the books today. Number 39 starts next Monday. It is a lateral from the Washington State Patrol, who's been a trooper for about 5 years.
A trooper's coming. It's going to be a real cop now.
This is our second trooper. We hired a different trooper not quite 3 years ago. He's obnoxious. And then we have another one lined up to come to us from Nebraska in March. It'll be our second officer we've hired from the Scottsbluff, Nebraska area in the last 2 years as well. We found a guy from Scottsbluff Sheriff's Office, and he's turning out to be a great guy. He got one of his friends, and he's working on another one of his friends. So if we got to take him from Nebraska, we'll take him from wherever if they're good guys.
Well, we actually took somebody from Colorado a while back. That was a stretch and a risk. Tim Licken.
Yes, true.
Sergeant Licken.
Sergeant Licken.
He was on my shift when he first started. Great guy. Great cop.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun to work with.
No, I think we can get quality people from anywhere so long as we're willing to look. As long as we really assess them carefully, right through that chief's interview to really determine if they're going to be a fit, do an effective, thorough background, and they can succeed from anywhere. We just need to find the right people, which we're doing right now, which leaves our 41st spot open still. We have an entry level lined up against that. Our problem right now is that Basic Law Enforcement Academy is about 6 months out for a date.
Oh, really?
So we're literally looking
at... how long is the academy now?
It's still 20 weeks. It's still the 720-hour model, which, depending on holidays, is 20 or 21 weeks.
Sure.
We have one graduating next week. We have another graduating 4 weeks after that, so they will go in the pipeline of field training officer. Basically, about August, we should be really solid. The injuries should all be healed up, so long as we don't break anybody else.
Right.
And then we should have all of these officers pour out of the FTO process and come to the street. So about August, we should really be pretty good, which is about the time we should be able to send another one into the Basic Law Enforcement Academy and then continue.
Yeah, and Wenatchee PD, regardless of whether, well, I'm trying to think, maybe not a lateral, but you don't let anybody go on the street until they've been through the basic academy, correct?
Right. Yeah. So our laterals will come to us.
Not all police agencies do that. So
no, agencies actually have a year to send somebody to the academy.
Right.
So you can literally take a guy, hire him, put him on the street, and have them go to work, which is not a good model by any stretch.
No.
So a good example right now, we have a lateral who's starting next week. He's not been a prior regular law enforcement officer for the lack of anything else. He's a trooper, so he's primarily worked traffic and highway. So with him, he will do 14 to 16 weeks in our FTO process. Our FTO process now is all performance-based, and FTO means field training officer.
Right.
It's all performance-based. So the things that he's really good at already that have to do with traffic and that, he'll be evaluated, tested out, and he won't go back to those things. So his process may shorten a couple of weeks. The guy coming to us from Nebraska will go through a pre-FTO process. He'll start FTO, and then we're getting him lined up for his equivalency academy. He goes to for 2 weeks, the state academy, and then he'll do all 16 weeks of FTO where he hasn't been a law enforcement officer in this state. He comes to us with experience. He's actually worked in 2 other states. He's been a corrections officer in a prison as well. So when he comes to us, he's bringing a broad base of experience.
yeah, but he's got to be certified to work in Washington.
Exactly, but it's not Washington law yet. So he's got to go to, he'll do his 2-week academy mid-FTO. And then our new people, we hire them now. They do 2 weeks before the academy with us. They do a pre-academy period. They do their 20 weeks with the state. They do 2 weeks of post-academy, and then they start their 14 weeks of FTO.
Oh, cool, great.
So realistically, when we hire somebody right now, we're looking at 38 weeks from date of hire to nominal release to work by themselves on the street.
Right. And that's all your cars are single-person cars, right?
Yes, we still generally work solo. We've had a shift that's been fairly well staffed that hasn't had people injured, and they've been occasionally at night sending out a 2-man car to work and just handle calls with 1 car responding. and to let guys work in that partner atmosphere, which is great. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's just not always viable where we don't necessarily have the staff on the road. We'd rather have more cars out there being out and about than
What's your
stacking 'em up.
patrol minimum? And what I mean by that is how many officers are on a patrol shift? What's the minimum?
Minimum at work at a time?
Right.
So minimum at work at a time is basically 4.
Still 4.
Except
Okay.
from that midnight to 8 a.m. Sunday through Thursday nights, and then Friday, Saturday nights, it's 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. It can drop down to 3.
Go down to 3.
Yeah, the obvious goal long term is to be at least 4, if not more.
That's not enough, folks. Okay, I guarantee you it's not. And again, it's not your fault. Okay, it's a matter of economics. But
It is. It's a matter of economics. It's the nature of the business. If somebody gave us the authorization today to hire 10 more staff,
Sure.
it would probably take us 3 to 4 years to get those 10 on.
Oh yeah.
Chasing attrition, we are pending retirements. We've got a lot of folks who have reached 53. They've reached that retirement age under the left retirement system, or who have been here a good bit longer than that already, and they've reached the amount of years they wanted to pack it in. And so we know in the next 5 years we're going to have several retirements. That's assuming if we keep everybody we're hiring right now and they don't, resign because they don't like it or whatever else when they're new, or that the Laterals don't decide they'd rather go back to their agency.
Yeah.
We could lose more, need to hire more. Hiring is extremely difficult right now.
Yeah,
The state of
can
Washington
imagine.
last year told us that 2 in 100 interested candidates will complete the academy, and 1 in 100 will actually complete FTO.
Really?
Yep. And that's statewide. But when we look at our own numbers, I can look at the test results in public safety testing and go, there's some candidates here that are fine, and there's a lot of candidates we're not going to accept based on their personal history statements, their lack of education, the other requirements they don't meet. So we have this huge interested pool. And then we take the pool and we narrow it down, we send some to the academy. And then some, like we talked about before the show started, have resigned during training because it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
And good for them for recognizing that and not being miserable.
Yeah.
So for us, our next entry-level test is coming up April 7th, is the planned date right now. It's going to be in April. April 7th is the date as of today, which should stick. So anybody interested in coming to work for Wenatchee Police right now needs to test with public safety testing probably no later than next weekend, if there's a test available.
And if by any chance you need info on that, if you can't get anybody at the PD, you can contact me because I can tell you who to contact with that. But hey, we got to take a break, okay? This is fascinating. I love having cops on here, particularly like Captain Reinfeld. He's a good guy, For a captain, you're a great guy.
Thanks, Mike.
I was a sergeant, so, a little different perspective. But hey, street talk and other stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk about roundabouts, which is why I invited Captain Reinfeld to be here today. But hey, you stick around. We'll be right back. So.
Thursday night, hockey night on the NCW Life Channel. It all begins at 7 o'clock with a call of the Wild and Clarkie's Corner. Then it's non-stop hockey action with the voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker. Join us as the Wild battle the rest of the BCHL. Thursday night is hockey night on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Dr. Ron Singleton. See how Ideal Protein can help you.
I started Ideal Protein about 10 months ago. I'm down 123 pounds and a little over 50 inches.
Using Ideal Protein, I've lost 37 pounds in just 10 weeks.
I lost over 52 pounds in 4.5 months on Ideal Protein.
This has been a wonderful journey. The food is great, and it's a very easy program to follow.
This medically designed program has repeatable, safe, and effective results. Call us today to schedule your weight loss consultation.
This is TV. This is TV Set Free. TV everywhere from LocalTel sets you free to watch what you want, where you want. Catch your favorite networks, including live TV, ready to watch on any web-connected device for no extra charge. That's TV Set Free. Enjoy the extra value LocalTel delivers with TV everywhere. Visit localtel.net and sign up today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is State Representative Kerry Condata inviting you to check out our newest show on the NCW Life channel. We call it the 12th District. Each week, we'll be taking an in-depth look at various political issues that affect our area, our state, and the world. We'll be featuring local and statewide experts on the subject matter at hand. Please join us weekly for the 12th District with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Check your channel guide for times or go to ncwlife.com for details.
Okay, street talk and other stuff. Mad Dog Magnetti. I'm here with Captain Edgar Reinfeld of the Wenatchee PD. And the reason I asked you here today, Captain, was to talk about roundabouts.
Yes.
Roundabout, big deal right now. People are freaking out about them. Every time I start to enter one, my wife starts to yell at me, "You don't stop! You don't stop in the roundabout!" Like, okay, Rosie, I know what I'm doing, okay? But a lot of people don't know. They don't understand. So, roundabouts.
So of
Tell us
interest,
about it.
last fall we got approached by Wenatchee Valley College. One of the math professors, Dr. Sai Ramaswamy, comes to me and the department and says, we're doing statistics projects, we need some project work. So we came up with a variety of things. One of the things we said, can you go look at a roundabout and tell us what people are doing wrong?
Right.
And the thing people do wrong is they stop in the roundabout.
Right. Right.
Quit stopping inside the roundabout.
I know, I should put a tape of Rosie that you can put there at every roundabout. Don't stop in the roundabout.
Stop in the roundabout, yes.
Okay, honey.
So,
yeah.
But that is the interesting thing we took out of it. We actually, one of the teams went and did a count looking for driver errors in 2 roundabouts, and they did the one at Cherry and Western, which is relatively new. And unfortunately, we don't have a before study. We only have a during study.
Sure.
And then the other one was at 5th and Riverside Drive. They're both T-shaped roundabouts, so they're not ideal because they're not a straight-through cross type roundabout.
Right.
But there were 2 that they could work safely and have a look at. In 6 total hours of observation, they counted more than 4,000 vehicles and observed more than 4,000 vehicles between these 2 locations.
Over 6 hours?
6 hours, yeah. Huge sample, which is crazy. I told them, boy, you guys are going to have to do 10, 12 hours to get 300 or 400. I was way off.
Yeah.
Not even close, but I don't have a traffic counter. Public Works might do it, but I have no idea. I just guessed. And so they went out and did that, and they noted that the biggest errors were people stopping in the roundabout. There were a number of errors,
right?
But stopping is a roundabout. The only thing that causes a problem is that once you're in that circle, is coming to a stop.
Okay, so tell us what you're supposed to do.
Here's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
As you approach the roundabout, obviously you need to yield to traffic that's already in the roundabout.
Right, you yield to traffic that's in the roundabout.
It's within the circle.
Okay.
Once you have clear space to enter. That means as you're approaching the roundabout, if it's clear, drive into it. That's still your piece of road.
Right.
And then signal when you're leaving the roundabout. We had a discussion when they did class presentations, and somebody was very adamant that if I'm going into the roundabout and I'm going to go out to the left, I signal left before I go into the roundabout. No. You can't signal left, you're going to go into the middle.
Right.
And the middle may be a drive over middle, which is no problem, but if it's a landscaping bed 3 feet high, that's kind of difficult to actually achieve going left. And so the discussion is, you enter the roundabout, once you're in the circle and leaving, signal to get out. That signal to get out lets the next driver looking to come in know that you're leaving so that they can enter.
Okay, I see.
So in a nutshell, that's the simplest thing. If you look at these T-shaped roundabouts, like at Western and Riverside Drive, for traffic southbound on Western approaching Cherry, easy.
There's only 3 entrances into it. Okay,
There's
it's not
3
a full
points.
4-way intersection. Okay.
And it's funny to watch people get confused and struggle with this when you travel to different parts of the world. My wife and I went to Germany last September. One of the traffic circles I drove in was in Berlin, is 6 lanes wide at its narrowest, 8 lanes wide for most of it, with 8 or 9 inlets and outlets into the thing. But the circle in the middle is about 400 yards wide. So it's a very big, it's a massive piece of infrastructure that helps drive traffic in that part of the city. So these are obviously much different, but it's the same thing. With the T intersections, we can take Western and Cherry as a great example. As you're going southbound on Western, approaching Cherry Street, there's just a little bump to go around the backside of that mini traffic circle. And it's a drive over mini there because the right-of-way is so small, there was no room really to bubble it out without buying a lot of property, condemning people's property that may not have been willing to sell, and going through all that business just to build a bigger circle. So they can just basically bump around, and they're entering the circle, giving right-of-way to those in the circle. If there's no one in the circle causing a right-of-way issue, drive straight through. For those northbound on Western looking to go on a Cherry, same deal. Enter the circle, get in the circle, do your business, and get out where you're supposed to.
Okay.
And it's very simple. Cherry Street's very easy to see because it's a drive-over one. It's not big enough to let
when you say drive over, what do you mean?
So a drive over one, it's actually a very flat, it's just a little hump in the roadway and it's smooth. It's beveled so that there's not a curb you drive up and over. And it's designed for larger vehicles that maybe can't make the turns or can't make that tight little circle to just drive right over it. Despite those down on Riverside Drive that are not drive-overs, they have landscaping in the middle. When commercial trucks violate the no trucks in that area, they end up driving right over them too. Damage the bushes, damage the sprinklers, do all sorts of damage. It happens on a regular basis, mainly because the GPS says, hey, go that way, even though there's a big sign that says no trucks. And so the other big one we see is out there at Chelan Highway and Warehouse Road and Omi Road where they connect. And it's a gigantic one, but it's also a drive over, at least the vast majority of it is because of the heavy commercial vehicles not only going to the Stemilt warehouse, but most of the traffic.
Yeah, you got fruit trucks going in and out of there all the time.
24 hours a day,
So-
7 days a week, but also the trucking company on Omi Road, right at the base of Omi Road, right next to the circle, and then the heavy equipment company, because there's the big Caterpillar dealer, Pape Machinery or whatever's out there with their heavy equipment. There's a lot of heavy equipment right there. So that one's a drive over as well. Even though it's a really large space with clear lanes to move around, some of the trucks are just too big still to stay within the confines of that regular
Now,
pathway.
is that roundabout, is that in the city now?
It actually is in the city limits.
all right.
If there was a collision there, we'd be dealing with it today.
Okay, all right.
And so we actually have all the way out, basically as far as it appears inhabited on Chelan Highway before it kind of drops off, before you then head out to Rocky Reach Dam. Those last two parcels there, you kind of pass, there's a landscaping supply yard on the left as you're going northbound.
Right.
And there's the old, they're not necessarily old, but there's the big like propane gas containers on the right that are kind of, they're the natural end of where there's still business out there. We have all the way out to there on the highway.
Okay, so you yield to people already in the roundabout.
Yes.
And you enter the roundabout and you keep going and then you signal your exit.
Exactly.
Okay, pretty simple. Well, all right, now
Straightforward.
look. We're going to take a break. Got to take one last commercial break. And I'm not going to do your probably worthless opinion today because the captain's got one other thing on his mind he needs to discuss with you folks. So, hey, street talk and other stuff. You stick around. We'll be right back.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Ladies of the Wenatchee Valley, do you know the secret of receiving the perfect gift for your birthday, anniversary, or Christmas? We have the answer for you at Collins Fashions. Come in and fill out a wish list. You can choose from beautifully crafted jewelry, handbags, and luggage from Brighton, stylish wallets and handbags from Lotus, cozy sweaters from Icelandic, zip fleece from Tommy Bahama, fashions from Joseph Ribkop, and Collins gift cards. Our little elves can contact your loved ones and share your wish list. Complimentary gift wrap and amazing service at Collins Fashions in downtown Wenatchee.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
Watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
My name's Robert Duff. Current and previous occupation is architect, engineer, and lawyer. Grew up here in Washington, born in Moses Lake. When I first came to CVCH, was looking for a place to get some dental work done. I was really impressed with the people at the counter. I mean, they were just on top of it. It only took her like 15 minutes to do the job. I didn't feel anything. The technology is so great, you don't even realize you're at the dentist. These people are so professional. I would have any one of these people in my home for dinner. These people are family.
All right, street talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati with Captain Edgar Reinfeld, the Wenatchee PD. Now, I'm going to save some time for him because you've got another issue you need to discuss with the citizens of Wenatchee.
I do.
So go ahead.
So please stop turning on your cars to warm them up and leaving them sitting there with the keys in the ignition. We have a very small problem with vehicle theft here. In fact, we rarely have stolen vehicles.
Right.
But 8 in the last month, at least half of which were directly related to going out, starting the car, letting it warm up, and then going back inside. It's difficult to defrost the car. It can be difficult to scrape. It can be difficult to do a lot of things, but even more difficult is getting by through life with your car having gone bye-bye. We've recovered most of them, but there was another one yesterday morning at 4:30.
Well, I mean, who wants your
gone.
car stolen, you know?
Right.
So what if they recover it? I mean, good grief, some dirtbag out there driving your car?
Or putting
You know?
it in a ditch or off the side of the, mountainside road or whatever else. It's not good for you.
Modern vehicles for years now don't need to be warmed up before they're driven. Yeah, I know you want them defrosted and that type of thing. But
No, scrape fully, but letting the defroster do its work. If you're going to do that, sit in the car, please, because if you leave it out there, it's going to get stolen. It's just what we're seeing right now.
Right.
And the funny thing is, people will say, why aren't there more cops looking for it? There's a lot of miles of city. There's not that many guys on early in the morning. And realistically, there are hundreds of cars out there being warmed up one way or another. If you have a remote start, feel free to do so. You can't steal the car that way, but if you're physically leaving keys in the ignition, your car may go away, and that would be bad.
Yeah. No, I used to, well, never mind. I can't talk about what I used to do, but hey, Captain, nice to have you.
Yes,
Good
thank
to
you,
be
Mike.
here, but Street Talk and other stuff. Mike, Mad Dog, McNally, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have a great day. Have a great week. Bye-bye.